Hello everyone, welcome to my civil engineering YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it and hit the bell icon to get notified when I post my new videos. Today I'll be discussing regarding moment area method, classic beam theory and assumptions of classic beam theory. First and foremost concept of this lecture series is moment area method. So what is a moment area method? Basically, moment area method, it is used to solve or determine the slope and deflection in case of various structural elements. So what is the use of determining the slope and deflection? So we need to understand this. So for that, we are supposed to consider a structure which is subjected to an external load due to the action of external load onto the structure, which is, if at all, if it is within the elastic limit, then it regains its original shape and size when the load is removed. So if the load is applied beyond to the external limit further, the structure will deform with an eccentric distance with reference to its initial position. So that eccentric distance is called as deflection, or it is also called as deformation. So in order to design any structural component or the structure, the deformation values are very much important. So always deformation in a structure should be within a limit, so that if the values, if at all, if it is more than that limit or if it crosses that limit, so it causes the initiation of cracks and further it leads to failure or damage to the structure. So one of the most important factor on which the deflection of the structure, it depends on bending moment and flexural stiffness, or it is also called as flexural rigidity. So analysis of deflection is required, very much important to solve the statically indeterminate structures. In case of statical determinate structures, so no need to analyze of deflection. So it will for sure it will be in the equilibrium condition itself. But as in case of statically indeterminate structure, in order to make it in the equilibrium state, first we need to identify the whether it is determinate or indeterminate. If it is indeterminate, in order to bring it in a equilibrium condition, all the parameters has to be studied, and one of the most important parameter is that the deflection. I repeat it once again. Whenever a structure, when it is subjected to the external load due to the action of an external load, whenever if at all, if it is within the elastic limit, the structure regain its original shape and size. And if the load is applied furthermore beyond the elastic limit onto the structure, it will deform with an elastic distance with reference to initial point, and that eccentric distance is called as deformation, or it is also called as deflection. So in order to design any of the structure, the values of the deformation or the deflection is very important. So always any of the structure, it has to maintain its deformation within the limit. So if the deformation crosses the limit, then it causes the initiation of crack, and then it leads to the damage of the structure. So most important factor on which the deflection, it depends on bending moment and flexural stiffness. So moment area method, so this is the importance of finding or determining the deflection values for the structural elements. So say as the deflection values determination is important, same way slope values are also important. So whenever there is a deflection, there will be the creation of slope. Therefore how important the for determination of deflection is, same way the slope also matters a lot. So the next thing is moment area method. It is one of the important and easiest way to determine the slope and deflection for the various structural elements, And in this method, we are going to analyze the structural elements. I mean, we are going to find out what is the moments at different points. So after determining the moments at different points, we are supposed to calculate the area of M by EI diagram. So E represents the modulus of elasticity, and I is the moment of inertia, and then M is nothing but the bending moment. So product of E and I is called as flexural rigidity. So the product of EI, it is called as flexural rigidity. So in this method, the computation of area of M by EI diagram is used to determine the slope and deflection of the structural elements. So basically, there are two important theorems in the moment area method in order to determine the slope and deflection of a structure. So first theorem of moment area method is used to determine the slope of the deformed structure, and second theorem of the moment area is used to determine the deflection for the deformed structure with reference to its initial position. So always the deflection value will be determined with reference to its initial position itself. So again, moment area method is basically dependent on classical beam theory concept in order to analyze the deflected shape of the beam. So what is this classical beam theory? So classical beam theory is the one which is used to determine the deformation of the structure when it is subjected to transverse load. So always this theory is used to determine the deformation or deflection of the structure only when the structure is subjected to the transverse load itself. Now, no other load can be considered. So, and this theory is also called as Euler-Bernoulli theory. It is not Euler, it is Euler. So Euler-Bernoulli theory, it is also called as Euler-Bernoulli theory. So it is given as d square y by dx square into x is equal to m by ei into x. So it is nothing but in your strength of materials you have been studied the concept of simple bending. Along with that concept of simple bending, you have derived the bending stress equation, that is nothing but m by I is equal to E by R, that is equal to sigma by y, that is m by I is equal to E by R, that is equal to sigma by y. So that is called as Euler's Bernoulli theory. So I repeat it once again. So it is based on the concept of simple bending theory. You have derived the bending stress equation. So that is nothing but m by I is equal to E by R, that is equal to sigma by y, in order to determine the deformation. So that equation derivation is called as Euler's Bernoulli equation. Okay, so here we have represented the another form of Euler's Bernoulli equation, that is d square y by dx square into x is equal to m by ei into x. So it is in the form of m by I is equal to E by R, where R is called as radius of curvature of the deflected position of the structural member. So R is also R can also be represented as d square y by dx square. So R is the radius of curvature or the arc distance of the deflected shape of the structural member. So here it can also be represented as d square y by dx square is equal to m by ei into x. So here y is called as deflection in mm and x is a span to determine the deflection. Suppose I have a simply supported beam of span is equal to 5 meters and subjected to the center concentrated load. So I want to determine the deflection at point 4 meter from the left support. So that point 4 meters is called as x distance. So x distance is nothing but the distance at which I need to determine the deflection value. So next M is called as bending moment. Bending moment at which I need to determine the deflection value at that point, what the moment is. So that moment is called as the bending moment at the point where the deflection has to be determined. It is not the bending moment at the supports, but it is at the point where the deflection has to be calculated. So here E is called as Young's modulus. I repeat it once again, where here in this case the value, the structure considered to be homogeneous, which is made of single material throughout. Therefore the Young's modulus remains constant here. So I is the moment of inertia for the cross section of the beam. So as you know that the moment of inertia, it basically depends on geometry of the structure, whether it is a rectangle or circle or square, whatever it is, it depends on the shape of the structure. So based on that, there will be the variation of the moment of inertia. So this is all about the classical beam theory. So next, coming on to the assumptions of this theory. This theory means which theory? That is the classical beam theory for the analyzation of structure. So as I said that here they have given assumptions of this theory for analyzing a structure. So assumptions of classical beam theory for analyzing a structure. So as I said earlier, the moment area method, it depends on classical beam theory. So classical beam theory assumption also holds good for moment area method also. Therefore, I can generalize this as assumptions of moment area method also. So that is nothing but the assumptions of classical beams theory is same as that of moment area method also. Therefore, these are the assumptions which is holds good for the moment area method also. So the first and foremost important assumption is that the plane section remains plane even after loading. So I have considered here a simply supported beam which is subjected to the load here, external loading. So if a small portion of the beam is sectioned here, so you can just observe here the black color marks which show the sections here across the beam here. So that is of a flat portion of the sectioned beam. Always it remains flat because compared to the length of the beam, this length, the sectioned length is very small. Therefore the flat, it will be flat enough. So that flat portion of the sectioned beam will always remain flat even after the loading also. So this assumption will always be applied for the bending of the beams only when it is having when it is exposed to the transverse load itself, and it should be symmetric in nature, and if it is not applicable for the torsional nature of the force. And also this assumption is always valid for the section which is perpendicular to that of the neutral axis, even, and it remain perpendicular even to the neutral axis even after loading. So I just repeat it once again. I'll just take the section, I'll just take the simply supported beam which is subjected to the center concentrated load, and this beam is subjected to the sections. You can just observe as the black color sections here. So here you can just observe that. So the gray color portions here represents the flat nature here in the second sketch. So the flat portion of the section, it remains flat itself even after the bending. So this is because the length compared to the overall length of the member, the sectioned member is very small. Therefore the shape remains constant. So again, this assumption is only applied. The limitation of this assumption is that the first limitation is that it is only applied for the applicable for the transverse load, and which it should be symmetric in nature. It is not applicable for the torsional load, and this assumption is also valid only for the section which is perpendicular to the, so you can just observe this black color section which is perpendicular to the neutral axis here. So always this section should be perpendicular to the neutral axis, and this perpendicular section to the neutral axis, it remains as the perpendicular in nature to the neutral axis even after loading. So this is the first and foremost important assumption for the moment area method. The second important assumption is that the deformation are very small compared to the length of the beam. So suppose I just consider the beam length in terms of meters, so the deformation length should not be in terms of meters, means it will be a very small unit, that is in mm. So deformation is very small compared to the length of the beam. What happens if it is more? It leads to the failure of the structure. So the next important assumption is that the material of the structure should be elastic in nature. So the material should be elastic in nature. Okay, so the fourth important assumption, if the material is elastic in nature, the deformation is small enough. So the next important assumption is that the cross section of the beam remains constant throughout. So it will be having the same cross section throughout the member. So it is nothing but it will be symmetric throughout the uniform cross section. So next important assumption is that the material of the beam is homogeneous and isotropic. So always this material of the beam will always having a uniform homogeneity, it will be having a homogeneity and isotropy. So why? Because as I said that in the earlier explanation in the classical beam theory, we have stated that d square y by dx square is equal to m by ei, where E remains constant throughout the section of the structure. So if the E remains, E is the value of the Young's modulus, if it remains constant throughout, it indicates that the material is made of the material is not composite in nature. It is having a single element throughout. Therefore the value of E remains constant. So the next and the last important assumption is that the length of the beam should always be greater than the cross-sectional dimensions. So always the length of the beam should always be greater than its cross-sectional dimensions, that is the width of the beam as well as depth of the beam. Thank you for watching.